Hey, what's up guys, it's TechSummer talking to you here. And we are less than 1 week away from WWDC 2023. And I'm so excited guys. This event is going to be jam-packed with hardware and software, and it's going to have a product category unveiling that is going to change everything. I think Apple mixed reality headset is coming on this event. I just don't think Apple is prepared for the complete hype around this product. Everyone is just saying, oh, this is going to be meh. Oh, this is going to be another failed product from Apple. Another product that failed. How many products has Apple failed in the present or the very close past? None. So I think this product is going to be another AirPods / Apple Watch unveiling. This is going to change everything together with new Macs, together with iOS 17, which is also going to be a huge upgrade. So WWDC is looking to be very exciting. Let's recap all the leaks, all the rumors now, 1 week before, so next week we can confirm that all these leakers are wrong. If you are excited, don't forget to drop a like down below, subscribe to my channel. Let's get started. So, let's first start with the obvious. We are getting iOS 17 and iPadOS 17, macOS, watchOS 9 or watchOS 10, whatever, HomeOS, and of course, ROS. But that's for later on this video. I want to talk about now, first, on iOS 17 and iPadOS 17. As you know, iPadOS 17 and iOS 17 are already leaked by a bunch. iOS 17, I've made several videos on that. But to recap, we are getting lock screen changes. According to Mark Gurman, these lock screen changes are coming in a form of a copy of the Pixel tablet. So the iPhone is going to get a standby mode where on the always-on display, this is just my opinion, this is not part of the leak. I think Apple is going to focus this always-on display now on showing you the time, the calendar notifications, your notifications, some photos maybe. Like, imagine a Google tablet that you can lock. Yes, this exists. It's called Google Pixel tablet. But imagine that with your iPhone. So, like the Apple Watch has the nightstand mode, this iPhone is going to probably have also nightstand mode. Or even something other like that called, I don't know how Apple will call it. But this is going to be probably the biggest change coming to iOS 17. Other than that, Control Center redesign is also exciting. Spotlight search is going to be improved. Siri maybe it's going to be improved. AI speech and dumb mode that Apple has also confirmed last week. This is coming for certain. That it's going to be huge. You will be able to actually recreate your voice using AI. Also, just by talking some sentences. This is going to be huge for people that are losing their voice. This is an amazing feature that I talked about in my last video. But other than that, I do believe that iOS 17 is going to be huge, big redesigns on top of redesigns, health app redesigns. But what about iPadOS 17? We have already got Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro. What can we get more from iPadOS 17 this year? As you know, the iPad team is very lazy. At least the iPadOS team is very lazy. We don't get big features often, like at all. And what can we expect? Or at least what do I want from iPadOS 17? Well, for starters, I just want a good Files app. Just bring Finder from the Mac and I'll be happy. Other than that, just make the iPad more like a computer. I know, it's difficult to understand. Make the iPad more like a Mac, make the Mac more like the iPad, start to fuse them each other, and then make a good hybrid. Don't make this weird iPad and this fantastic Mac and then tell us to buy this Mac and buy the iPad, and we will be like, why? Why waste money on that? But that's what Apple wants. I respect it. Other than that, macOS, watchOS, those are very boring upgrades. I don't see any value on them, so I don't really talk about them. I want more performance improvements on the Mac, more efficiency improvements, make Final Cut Pro crash less. I don't have more requests. As for the watchOS, I just want third-party watch faces. For WWDC, we only normally get software. But then, there are some years that Apple decides to release new hardware on WWDC. And this year is going to be one of them. We are getting new Macs on WWDC. These new Macs are going to be an M2 MacBook Air 15-inch, probably the M2 Ultra Mac Pro or the M2 Ultra Mac Studio. I'm not sure on that. I think if Apple is going to release an M2 Ultra device, makes sense to be the Mac Studio because the Mac Pro should be this huge unveiling with the biggest, baddest, most powerful Mac ever made. And the M2 Ultra is looking like it's going to be a very disappointing chip. Just like the M1 Ultra was to the M1 Max, this M2 Ultra is not going to be much faster than the M2 Max. It's going to be like a little bit faster, incremental improvements. So I see Apple putting this on a Mac Studio. A Mac Studio with no improvements on the hardware, no improvements on the I/O. The simply old Mac Studio that we got from last year with the M2 Ultra. Not more, not less. And I think this is a good package. If Apple can keep up the same prices with the M2 Ultra, the M2 Max is going to be a good value, and people should upgrade from older computers, older desktops. If you have an M1 Ultra Mac Studio, doesn't make any sense to upgrade. As for the MacBook Air, this is going to be an M2 15-inch MacBook Air. This 15-inch MacBook Air is going to be the same size, or at least the same introduction of a size as the iPhone 14 has for the iPhone 14 Plus. The 15-inch MacBook Air is going to have the same specs, the same hardware, the same software, the same display, the same keyboard, the same mouse, the same I/O, bigger battery, and the display is going to be 15 inches instead of being 13 inches. Other than that, it will still rock the M2 chip, no M2 Pro in my opinion, and it will probably start at around at $1,500. So if you want to pay more, you will get more. If you want to pay less, you will still get the 13-inch MacBook Air. I think this is going to be an amazing deal for those that want to buy a bigger computer from Apple, but don't want to spend $2,500 on the 16-inch MacBook Pro. But if you ask me, for $1,600, $1,800, if you start upgrading the RAM and the storage, I think that the 14-inch MacBook Pro makes way more sense. With the M2 Pro chip, you get double the storage, double the RAM, and if you are probably spec to spec match these computers, the MacBook Air is going to be more expensive. So why spend the money on the 15-inch MacBook Air? Well, again, the bigger screen, the bigger battery, but at least the 14-inch MacBook Pro has a 14-inch screen which is mini LED and ProMotion. This MacBook Air is going to have a 60Hz LCD panel, the same that I reviewed on July of 2022. So again, a 13-inch MacBook Air scaled up. If you drag on Photoshop the sign that to increase, to scale up in a few points of percentage, the 13-inch MacBook Air, you get the 15-inch MacBook Air. Disappointed? Yes, I was expecting an M3 chip to come out this event. No M3 chip. According to Minchico, it was delayed for later down the year. Also, according to Mark Gurman, Apple is starting to accept new trade-ins for the Mac Studio, the MacBook Air, and the iMac with the M1. So makes sense, all of these devices will have a revision, at least until the end of the year. With the MacBook Air is going to be the M2 15-inch MacBook Air now on WWDC. With the Mac Studio, it's my prediction of having the M2 Ultra, and with the iMac, it's probably going to have the M2 or the M3 later down this year. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. This is just a very prediction to throw about on the air. Just a simple prediction. Do not take much weight on it. But now, 1 hour into the event, the lights dim, and everyone is excited because Apple is probably going to change history again. Apple is going to do something new. Apple is going to unveil a new product category, and this is where everything changes. Just like the Apple Watch, just like the iPhone, just like the AirPods, just like the iPad, just like the Mac when it was first launched. Apple is going to change the human history and the way that we interact with technology. Again, Apple is going to launch mixed reality headset. A mixed reality headset that is going to enable you to interact with your world with AR and to immerse in a completely virtual world with VR. This is going to do both, and on a very premium and very expensive headset. This headset is going to start at $3,000. I'm not sure if Apple is going to have an upgrade path like more storage or more RAM. It's going to have two 4K displays at 120 Hz. It's going to be made out of very premium materials like carbon fiber, aluminum, and other very premium foams like the AirPods Max right there. I think they're going to be a carbon copy of the strategy of the AirPods Max. So make a very expensive product, but with no compromises. Also, it's going to probably have USB-C, and it will have a detachable battery. So the battery is not going to be attached to the headset itself. It's going to be attached to some type of belt accessory, and then a cable will run up your head and connect to the VR headset. This is weird. I know, this is strange. It's not an Apple decision. It's not an Apple way of doing things, but it's the way they found it to make it more comfortable. If you have tried the Meta Quest Pro, the Meta Quest, the weight distribution because of the batteries on your head is very, very weird. And I think Apple found that the solution for that is to prioritize comfort and not aesthetics. I think Apple has decided not to compromise in any single place, charge the most amount of money. And according to rumors, Apple is still losing money on the headset, or at least break even. So I cannot complain. This is going to be very expensive. It's like tip-top technologies. It's really weird. Like the very, very on the edge technologies, very new technologies that are very expensive, especially those micro LEDs, 4K displays with 120 Hz. There will also be a digital crown for you to control and change settings on the Apple VR headset, just like the AirPods Max have one. XROS is believed to have an iOS-like interface that will be familiar to iPhone and iPad users, but presented to them and interacted with in an entirely new way. We are expecting a dedicated home screen containing apps and customizable widgets, all of which can be rearranged and all viewed on dual high-resolution 4K micro LED displays with up to 3000 pixels per inch for a rich, realistic and immersive viewing experience. Both of users' hands and eyes will be tracked by more of a dozen than optical cameras, and the wearer is expected to be able to look at an on-screen item to select it, and a hand gesture like a pinch to activate the item on the screen. The XROS software could even potentially project AR app interface elements onto actual objects in the real world for a mixed reality overlay kind of effect. Apple is also said to be working on an in-air typing feature. This is expected to be a bit rudimentary at launch, with Apple to make notable improvements over time. But what can we do with the Apple mixed reality headset that we cannot do with the Meta Quest that starts at $400 or the Meta Quest Pro that starts at $1,000? Well, according to rumors, it's going to integrate on the Apple ecosystem like a glove. We are getting FaceTime features, we are getting Apple TV features, Apple Music features, Apple Fitness Plus features, more services, Apple Arcade, new game interaction, new Mac features like external displays. So many things coming. And for example, you can be walking in the street and have your directions on the AR part of your screen. You can be at home and display a huge screen on your wall and watch TV or watch YouTube. So many use cases for AR. I think Apple will focus more on the AR side than the VR side. But for the VR, you will also have games that I think Apple will unveil on WWDC, partner with game studios like they did before on other unveilings, and I think they will focus on FaceTime calls. So this is going to be the main focus of the Apple Mixed Reality headset. For the first year, it's going to be a first generation product where the objective is just to discover new ways to use it, to incentivize people to like it, to build hype for next year or in 2 years. Apple decides to launch a cheaper version with less compromises that does more. And that's how you iterate the product. Like Apple did this with the first iPhone. The first iPhone did not have an app store. The first iPhone, you cannot change the wallpaper. The first iPhone did not have video recording. The first iPhone did not have many things that you have right now on your phone. So this is going to be an iterative product, an iteration process that needs to happen very, very slowly for Apple to build up the hype, to build up the interest of the people, and to make the device cheaper. I do believe in this device. I do believe this is going to change history, and that's why I'm really excited to be for the first time a YouTuber on this environment. This is going to be my first big launch as a YouTuber, and I'm really excited. I want to cover this event extensively, cover the Apple VR headset extensively, but I don't have the money to buy one and review. So let's hope that YouTube pays well until the end of the year so I can buy this Apple Mixed Reality headset and review it for you guys. But let me know in the comments below what you think about this device. Do you think it's going to be successful? Do you think it's going to fail because it's too expensive? Or do you think that the whole concept of mixed reality is botched? Let me know all of that in the comments below. Don't forget to drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, and follow my social networks, Twitter and Instagram. This has been Textman talking to you here. Bye bye.